Everybody standing next to me is Tom Laird McConnell, and Tom is going to show us something called Social Desktop, which is an application, a program software?
It is a web service combined with software that is running on the desktop.
Okay, and explain to us what it is.
Okay, well, Social Desktop in its essence is a prototype that we're doing in Microsoft Research, which tries to marry the web with the desktop. The way that the web has evolved with document sharing is different from the way the desktop works, and so we're trying to figure out how can we make the two work more seamlessly together.
So I've read a little bit about it. Essentially, I can take whatever's on my desktop and give it its own URL, right, for sharing?
Yes, so what we've built is a service which creates a URL for every file on your system across all of your devices. So you're able to privately browse across any of your files just like FolderShare does. But in addition, we've created a backing social page which allows you to have a social experience around any of the files on your desktop so that you can share your documents by just clicking on a document and sending a link to somebody. They can look at it in any browser, they can comment on it and tag on it and use delicious and all that sort of thing, but you don't have to upload or worry about where it goes. It's basically just seamlessly part of the desktop experience. Then we've taken all of that technology, merged it back into the desktop to create a seamless experience on the desktop so that it's just an innate part of the desktop system.
But now, is this a free service? Because most websites, I mean, someone has to pay for the hosting.
Well, right now this is just purely a prototype. Okay. We're just investigating what are the paradigms around sharing, what's the right security model. There's a balance between public and easy and very private and hard, and finding the right knobs and experience around all of that stuff. That's awesome. We know that people do very insecure ways of sharing. If you think about people resort to email attachments all the time to share documents, and you have no control over where the document goes.
There's usually a file size limit too. Does Social Desktop have a size limit?
Well, Social Desktop, right in its current incarnation, actually can access your data directly off of your system, and in theory, we can do things like do smart caching in the cloud based on demand, based on uptime of your system, and all that sort of thing. The point is, you shouldn't have to worry or care about that. We're trying to build that sort of stuff into the system. That's for us to worry about. Exactly.
Well, let's take a look at it. Show me what it can do.
Okay. Well, so what we're going to start with right here is this is just a normal Windows browser experience. And this document here, there's a new verb here which allows you to look at the social page for this document. Wow. So it launches you into a browser, and
that's a public URL. Anyone in the world can access that?
This URL is a public URL. If you notice, it's kind of an obfuscated URL. So it's not a raw URL that allows you to go and browse the hard drive on my system. It's the public-facing version of it. You think tiny URL.
Yes.
Right? So you
don't want people browsing my system.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a preview. That one of the key ideas is you shouldn't have to have the software installed to look at it. You should be able to just look at a preview and it should just work. So we got a nice little Silverlight app that lets you look at the preview of this document. You can see there's a comment here. There's some social verbs. Sorry, I have to log in here so that I can show the next step. So once I've logged in, we have some additional things where I can add a comment. We've got various verbs which are appropriate in a web sharing environment, such as I want to email this to somebody, I want to download it, I want to share it through an existing service. So
we got Facebook, Twitter. What else do you have going on? Flickr?
Well, yeah. Right now, only some of these icons work.
Right.
You know, to be truthful, right now we got Twitter hooked up, and so this is just a quick little. We'll just type in a quick little note here that we're doing a demo on Twitter. And that just made sure that this was shared, made sure that it's accessible on the internet, and is posted to my Twitter account. So I've just essentially said, I already trust everyone on my Twitter network. I'm just going to let my Twitter friends see this document. So there's kind of an inherent trust relationship with that subset of people. People aren't going to be randomly typing in GUIDs and stuff like that, right? So this allows someone who's on Twitter, my social network, to view that. So I'm going to switch over to this Mac here.
What?
And, yeah, I know. And if I could figure out how to do a refresh, I'm not that much of a Macophile. So here we go. We got the demo link that just came through as a tiny URL. And so when I click on this, we're going to get the same social experience that we had over there on this other machine over here. We get the previews, we get the comments, and if we log in this case, I'm going to log in as my son. And I'm going to add a comment, hopefully, once it comes up. I'm going to say, cool, Dad. And we'll save that, just to show that the system is actually working. Now we can come back over here. If we refresh this guy. Oops.
And is there a time limit? Would these things live, forever on these URLs?
I mean, it's, the metadata is actually pretty cheap. The idea is that you should be able to easily search over the metadata. So we cache certain metadata up in the cloud so we can index over it. So we can say, search for related documents. If there's a topic, if there's tags, you can search on related, things that my social network has shared. So ultimately, I want to be able to say, my friends have common interests. Search over all the public documents of all my friends. I should just be able to do that. Okay, so showing.
Oh, look, cool dad.
So we got the cool dad thing, but let's actually take that a step further. So we're going to come back to Windows here. One of the features of Windows 7 is this cool search capability. So I'm going to say, hey, I want to look for some documents that have been tagged by Lily. So we got a bunch of documents here. You can see we're getting smart search results across all of the metadata that's been published by all the comments and documents that have been done. But not only that, when I click on this and expand out the preview pane, we actually get the social experience right there in the document space. So you don't have to go and say, well, where is it? Do I have to switch to web mode or desktop mode? It all just kind of seamlessly works together. Bringing that back full circle, if we come back here and go into a document here, again, in the shell, when the preview pane is there, we've taken over the preview pane and we show the social experience right there embedded in the shell. And so there's no decision that has to be made. It's just a seamless experience. And so that's why we call it social desktop. Yeah. It's universal access and browsing of your private data, sharing your data in public with your social network, and seamlessly integrating it into the desktop.
And when are we going to have it? When can I have social desktop?
Very, very early prototype. We got a lot of things we need to figure out as far as, permissions and all that sort of thing. So no plans for release. We're just exploring the space.
Very exciting. I love the idea. Is there anywhere people can go to online to learn more about it, keep up with you guys?
There is a link on the TechFest page to the social desktop project, and it's been posted on Channel 10 and TechCrunch and other places like that.
Great. Well, thank you very much. It's called Social Desktop. I like it.